Hey guys, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of Tech Town.
Tech Town.
That's right, I'm Mr. Ellsberg, and this is Wizard Town. The Town Wizard.
The Town Wizard. Right. Some sort of wizard and town, yes.
That's right, we're back here again to talk all things tech with you this week. We're going to be talking online learning.
Yeah, online learning, man. You didn't realize how much you can learn online until you try it, so you'll see.
That's right. So we here at Tech Town, we're all about online learning. Last week we talked a little about command lines. We talked about GPS. We talked about really all things tech so far this year, and we're just getting on to another subject.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Online learning.
All right, online learning. Okay, so there's a bunch of different kinds of online learning. One of them is called Massive Online Open Online Courses, and that acronym is MOOC, MOOC. So Massive Open Online Courses. That's kind of the main one we're going to focus on, and then we're going to talk about some other kinds. But what that kind of is that's this sort of newer version of learning, which is not just like, Googling for stuff.
Yep.
It's like actually trying to take the classroom into the future.
Right.
So there's a teacher, let's say, and there's students, and they're interacting, but it's online. So you have an online teacher, you're watching video lectures. Maybe there's discussion groups that you're having, but through chat. There's homework, there's assignments. So first we'll talk a little about those because really it can either supplement or maybe replace the existing school that we have.
Right. Yeah, no, the new environment of online learning is amazing. And a lot of our students already know about that because, we got an online school in Metro East Web Academy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start there. I mean, you can even tell me a little bit about that. So your guys' school is a great example of online learning. You do some in-school things and then also outside of school. So I want to ask you how that goes and what's good about the online part of it.
Yeah, so basically what we have is a program that's individualized for all of our students in that they get to come to us, whether they're credit deficient or they're way ahead of the game, and they get to take the classes that they need to graduate. And then we also have a lot of different opportunities that you wouldn't have at a regular school. Like we talk about all sorts of programs that are kind of on the cutting edge of what's going on the internet and with technology. And we've got extra support that's kind of like right when you're going through a course, if you have trouble with a concept or a program, you can get instant feedback from one of your teachers, which is great. Yeah. And then we have a few other things, like we've got open labs, we've got access to all sorts of computers. We basically give a computer to every student one way or another. Every student has a computer, which is a lot different than your regular school. Yeah. But a lot of our kids like it. Yeah. And it's a good program for a lot of them. It's not for everybody, the one that we have, but that's the thing. It's like there's so many different types of online learning that if one doesn't work for you, another one might.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like the part about like kind of instant access, whether it's really live chat access to a teacher, maybe not, but at least there's this kind of really easy interaction between the student and teacher. Before, outside of class in a normal school, it may be hard to connect with the teacher. How do you go spend time after class? Maybe you have to track them down or something. So to have just this sort of, whether it's chat or email or, sending just notes back and forth in some way, it seems like that kind of interaction I think is cool. It kind of, in a way, online learning seems like you'd be farther away from teachers because you're separated, but that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you're even closer because you actually get to make these sort of interactions that you might not otherwise.
Right. It's really hard to make a blanket statement about online learning, just as with technology, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So, and with all these kinds of things, there's going to be a lot of things that seem like they're really great and totally transformative. There's a few things that's like, well, that sounds futuristic, but what about actual real, face-to-face interaction? And then there's everything in between. So it's true. So we're here to kind of clear up some of those for you.
Yeah. So what about MOOC?
Okay. So some MOOC. All right. So there's a Wikipedia page that I'll link to in our notes, which you can look under the YouTube description. You
right down there, show more.
And you can see all these little links that I'm posting. This one's to the Wikipedia article on massive open online courses. And it has a nice list of providers. So it gives what they call providers, which is basically classes or websites that offer this sort of thing.
Right. Schools, if you will.
There you go. That's a good one. Yeah. And so there's a bunch of them. And so I'll highlight a couple of them here, but feel free to check out the other ones. And really what the common theme between most of them is it's sort of like school. There's, lessons and there may be a teacher. Right. There's homework, there's assignments. Some of them require you to do homework and assignments. Some of them don't. You can just audit the class, which means you just watch it or you just follow along. But it actually, I've found that it really pays to do the assignments and do the homework. So maybe you might want to audit a class and just watch the videos and learn a little bit. But I really have found that when you actually do the homework and you get in there and get your hands dirty, that's when you really learn the stuff. So that part hasn't really changed. It's not like you can just matrix soak up all the information. You still do want to do the exercises.
Yeah, you gotta do exercises. You gotta take notes. It's got to be interactive. You actually have to be interested in it and working through it. I mean, just like any other learning. You know, we haven't figured out the matrix stuff yet.
Not quite yet. So that said, it's still nice that you can kind of peruse. You know, maybe you don't do the assignment and tests and everything for all the classes. Maybe you just want to kind of check out this one little topic. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe you want to learn more about it. Maybe you don't. So for the ones that you choose that you really want to get into, I'd say go at it as if it were regular class.
Yep.
But it's also nice to have a bunch of other stuff out there just to see whether you like it or not.
Right, exactly.
So let's go through just a couple of these examples. I've actually taken some classes from some of these officially or unofficially. And so I'll show you what I think is kind of good about some of these ones versus others. So one that I've used is called Coursera, Coursera.org. And this one's good because number one, it's free. A lot of these are free. Some of them actually aren't. Some of them you would pay for taking some of these classes.
Right.
But I think this one, Coursera, is really good. So here's their website, and you can see they have a bunch of different courses. Let's choose which courses. They've got, oh man, they've got a million. They've got child nutrition and cooking, which is go at your own pace. So they have different sort of categories. Some of them are go at your own pace. Some of them you must complete things on this certain time frame.
Right.
On the left, you can see here some of them are on demand. So that means anytime you want, you can just watch them after the fact. Yep. Some of them are live, and you have to be there at the right time. So lots of different languages you can choose from, categories. So maybe we only want to look at stuff in food and nutrition or medicine. And then, just take a look. There's just a million. And let's try, how about audio signal processing for music applications?
Wow, cool. Now this is actually, it's funny that you jumped into this because I went to this university.
Oh,
Universidad de Barcelona.
Oh, there you go. Wow. It says this is maybe a partnership between Stanford and that university.
Right.
Wow, that's really cool. Huh. Did you take this class?
No, I did not.
All right, well, now you can. So what's cool is that they have a little intro video. They talk about the course. This one's about signal processing. They have a little syllabus outline. So what's cool is that this is all organized kind of as a school. They talk about the instructors, and then you say join for free. They have these sessions. It says 10 weeks of study, 8 to 10 hours of work a week. It's in English. So it kind of gives you all the details up front, and then all you have to do is join and then participate.
Right.
So it's amazing. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we've been hoping for since humanity began. It's a way to just learn anything you want. And, the internet sort of brought that with like Google and Wikipedia sort of, but it's not really about like learning like the way these are. These understand you want to be a student. We want to help you through things. We want to actually master the material. So so that's Coursera.
Right. Yeah, this is great. So you basically get everything from one place, and these are made by, educating masters, right? These are made by professors. These are made by people who that is their job to make courses. And so instead of just, here's a quick intro video on how to use something, this is somebody that's, I think I know exactly the best way that you can learn something. Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so it's something that they have put a lot of time and effort in because they are really, teaching this class. And so they kind of make the class to that standard so that anybody taking the class would hopefully think that highly of it too. Right. Okay, so Stanford Online. So we mentioned in the previous one that it was sort of Stanford related. Stanford University, first of all, is awesome. I went there. It's a great school. And second of all, they're way better than the Ducks. Okay, we don't need to get into that. Okay. Put that on hold until the game. Maybe online. Yeah, all right. Maybe online they're better. We'll continue that chat afterwards. But they do offer quite a few courses. But what's interesting is that Stanford itself offers some courses through their website, but also through Coursera and also through some of the other things. So there's really not yet the one place to go for all these things. That's why I'm kind of showing you a list of them. Right. There's quite a few, and even there's some overlap. So Stanford has its hand in a few of these things. MIT has its hand in a few of these things.
So sometimes you actually will see overlap, or you'll see one link to the other.
Yep.
So they're not quite all sorted out yet, but at least there's lots of good options and places to go.
It's very cool when you see like leading groups in education, or really in any field, working together to try to figure out the best way to you know, help you out. So that's what these are all about.
Yeah, exactly. So and then Stanford Online, that's another one where Stanford offers a lot of their courses for free. And then actually that one's kind of cool because I worked on this when I was in college. So I worked on this website and made videos available to people.
All right, so now it's a little bit better.
All right.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So check out some of the courses there. I'll go a little bit quickly through some of these other ones just because the concepts are the same, but it's the intricacies that make them different. So you'll see that some of them, thank you. Some of them, okay, yeah, we're gonna go to the Khan Academy next. Some of them have a little bit of different focus. You know, some are very much about being free, and we need it to be free. Some of them aren't. Some of them will really help you teach a class.
Right.
So maybe you want to come in and not just take a class. You want to teach something. They'll help you put your class on there and start teaching. Some of them won't have anything to do with that. They only take existing classes.
Yep.
So this is the Khan Academy. Mm-hmm. And so let's say we want to start learning now. We can sign up. They have a bunch of different classes. It looks like I've already started a little bit. I'm 22% mastered. So yeah,
you're well on your way.
Yeah,
it takes a while to master something.
It sure does. So so we've got Intro to Programming, Biology, Algebra, Art History, Exploring Mars.
Khan Academy is a great tool, and a lot of things that they do are specifically they're an expert in the kind of like the visual aesthetic aspect of it. One thing that I've noticed.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So they do a really good job. Like it doesn't take a genius to go into their website and figure out how to use it.
Yeah, good. And that's important because a lot of this stuff, you know, it seems like it's great and all, but just like any other technology, when you actually go to use it, it has to be easy to use it. You know, It has to be really easy to get into, really easy to make progress, so that you're not spending most of your time dealing with it. You're spending your time learning the material.
Right, exactly. And Khan does a great job of that. So,
yeah, right, great. All right, on to the next, NovoEd. I've actually taken a class or two from NovoEd, and NovoEd.com has some free courses. So we have, let's see, Global History Lab, 3D Printing and Manufacturing. They say whether they're free or not, so some of them are not free.
Right.
It has student work here, so they're highlighting some of the work that students have done within those classes.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, let's take a look at which courses they offer. And about collaboration is another big thing. So one thing is, just if you were to have just a lecture as a video, and then homework assignments where you just fill out the answers and tests, you could sort of emulate a real life class online. But there's more of a reason to make an online class. It's like what you're talking about first. It's not just making it online. It's taking what is great about the internet and then transforming what a class is to actually use those things.
Right.
So here, let's look through just a few of these classes. You can get an idea of what we got. We have some mastering language for college and career readiness for different levels too. So this can work for secondary school versus elementary school. So, you know, sometimes even for young kids, they have some good lessons. So
very cool.
All right. Maybe one more, which is edX. And edX is another course, or another one put on by MIT. I think Stanford has some things in here. Schools and partners here, the list. They have Harvard, Berkeley College of Music, so a ton of people. So this is one that I think a lot of schools got together and said, we all want to put our time and effort into this one. So this is one I actually haven't used yet, but it seems like a great one. So I want somebody to use it and let me know.
Very cool. That's something for our tech townies. Yeah, get in there and see if you can find a class that you might want to take.
Yeah, exactly. I think, for all the tech townies and people who are going to be around on Wednesday or next week, take a look at all these kinds of classes. We want you guys to take a class, see what it's like, see whether you like edX better than Coursera, or what is it about these online courses that make it different than just having a video of a regular course. Right. So,
and they already are semi-experts in what it is to be an online student.
Exactly, right. You guys are already starting off ahead of the pack, so you know a little bit of what the troubles are, or what you really can get out of it that you can't get out of anywhere else. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. So like, why do these online classes, right? So one of them is you can sort of imitate what you would do in a regular class
Right.
for school.
Yep.
So you could take high school online,
Middle school,
high school
elementary
online,
school,
college online.
Yep.
So, okay, that just means that you don't have to leave your house, or you can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sounds like laziness. Sometimes that's really important. Some people have a lot going on in their life and they really can't be commuting places. So to be able to learn on their computer is really, really helpful for their life.
Maybe you're just far away.
Yeah.
You know, like you could be out in the middle of nowhere. As long as you got an internet connection,
Exactly. Yeah.
you can learn. You can
learn.
you can jump in and get this material. And that's one thing that I've noticed when I go to when I go and travel abroad is getting those materials, which bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots, is a much bigger issue than you a lot of times suppose, because we have all these great things here in the US, all of these tools at our service, and that just is not the case when you go abroad.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, not everybody has the internet yet either, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people will. And so those people who may not have access to much, but once they have access to the internet, if they can also get, you know, a school and education, that's huge. So
very cool.
Another reason why you might do something like this is for certification.
Yep.
So you can, I think, Coursera and NovoEd, I think some of these not only let you graduate or, you know, complete the class, they'll give you sort of a certification.
Yeah.
And what they want that to mean is that you really have participated, you've done well, and you've done well in this class, and you've learned this material.
Yeah.
So that you can show that to potential employers or teachers or anybody else and prove that you actually did learn this material.
Right.
So it's kind of like having a mini high school diploma or one of these professional certificates that people get in some field.
Right.
But it's an ability for you to say to people, hey, I did learn this thing and I have these skills. So it's another reason for you to maybe hire me. And
it's something that you're going to be doing on the way through your professional career. You can get food card handler certified. You can get boating license certified.
Yeah.
You can get a licensure in green architecture.
Oh yeah.
Through an online program.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's really, I think, going to be a little bit of the way of the future, where instead of people looking at your degree, and maybe they will also look at your degree, but they're going to say, what are your certifications,
right?
You know, in the future. And maybe that'll mean I have these 5 Coursera certifications, these 2 NovoEd certifications, or maybe they'll look at something different in the future. But the idea is that, you know, people will actually be able to see what you've done.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And then another reason to do these is for fun. I think, you know, at some points it seems like, well, really, I already have a lot of school going on. Why would I need more school? Well, a lot of this stuff actually is interesting, and it's just kind of fun to learn. You know, maybe it's just on a subject you didn't think you were into, or maybe it's on something you're into and wanted to learn a little more, but you're not actually going to do all the homework. That's okay. Like you can take some of these and just kind of learn.
Yep.
I think, you know, it's kind of amazing that why, you know, really, do I want to just sit down and learn more? Well, yeah, sometimes I do. I think some of this computer stuff is really interesting. I think some of this music stuff is really interesting. And I'm just down to watch some people tell me some stuff about it.
Right, right. We're always down to learn here at Tech Town.
Oh, yeah.
That's 100% sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we've got these online courses. We've got regular classes. And so far, the regular classes haven't gone away.
No.
So let's talk about a little bit of the pros and cons. So we have the online ones. Why are those like better than regular classes? And then we'll talk a little bit, why are they not quite as good as regular classes? Okay. It's very subjective. You know, we're still in a transition period, so none of these answers are for sure yet. But just some ideas. You know, why would you want to do these online classes instead? We're talking about that interaction. You know, you can have this interaction between students and teachers, and even between students, that's very immediate. It's very, you know, you can get answers, you can send off those emails, and it's not just you hope that the professor has an email or checks that email. It's that's part of the system, is that you have this connection between them.
But what if the internet's out? What if your technology isn't working?
Well, a couple of things, but that's...
I'm just playing devil's advocate. We field these kinds of questions all the time.
We'll get to that in a bit, because that's why it's not quite as good. So one, and obviously you can download the entire catalog of all the videos and have that, you know, on a thumb drive ready to watch just in case the internet goes down. But okay, we're not there yet. So why else is it better than regular classes? Well, you have one teacher that can reach millions of students. So normally you have a classroom, right? And maybe the classroom gets big and it has like 30 kids or 40 kids, or in some colleges you have classrooms with like 200 kids. Well, with these online classes, you can have something with 2 million kids. So you know, the limit, the sky's the limit on number of people. You just have to make sure that it's all working okay. You know, that will bring on some problems, but we'll talk about that in a second. Right. So less overhead. So if you're a teacher who is teaching one of these classes, you don't have to have a physical school.
That's true. That's the second largest cost in education is facilities.
Okay.
Number one is human resources, followed closely by facilities. You got to take care of the facilities. You got a building, you got to take care of it. You got to swab the decks. You've got to clean the bathrooms. You got to sweep under the bleachers. You've got to build new facilities. You got to do all of these types of things. You got to pay for the internet connection. Yeah. You got to do all that stuff.
That's true. So yeah, I mean, just imagine if all of that money that was taken to spend to keep up the facility was spent towards everything else.
Right.
So it's not that I don't like the facilities, because a place to be is great. It just is so expensive.
Yeah.
That being able to use that for other things may sometimes make up for that.
Right. Or do you want a giant facility that's not that cool or inspiring or create much of a creative space? Or do you want a smaller, affordable creative space, which you can make really amazing?
Exactly. And maybe it isn't as simple as not online or online. It's kind of like your schools as an example. It's that you can have space where you can physically be there and work together, right. But maybe instead of it requiring it to be a giant school with lots of those spaces that are mostly empty, you can have just strategic times where you'll meet up in a communal space. And then also why these online classes can be better than regular classes is because it really is inherently connected to other online tools.
Yep.
So each of these classes, to be able to then offer links to other websites or videos that are connected with the class or surveys or tests, it's already online. So they're already ready to use some of these great tools that are coming out.
Right. Just like Wikipedia has their little footnotes. If you want a primary source to the information that I just spewed, boom, just right out to you. And that's exactly like the footnotes we have here.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not just talking about it. You can go right to those places and check it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us we're wrong. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, you can do it on your own. That's really cool.
Yeah. All right. So, and then on the flip side, okay. So all these reasons that these classes are great.
Right.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that think that there are reasons why they're not so great. So I have a couple. Maybe you can jump in with a couple. One of them is that personalized interaction. In regular classrooms, there is some time where one student will be one-on-one with the teacher and can give personalized advice or help or just support. And you can really be there with that person talking.
There's something to breathing the same air as somebody else that is irreplaceable.
Yeah, there is so far. As of right now. So there is something to be there to be said for being in the real place, face to face with somebody, have them listening to you and thinking about it. That can change though, so I'm not saying that's permanent.
And at the same time, it's really distracting when you got to get to the next class.
Yeah,
you got to run through the halls as fast as you can.
Yeah, your next class is not on demand.
Right.
It is happening. Okay. Also, some of these newer online things, like everything, aren't quite perfect yet.
Yep.
So sometimes, the website doesn't quite work. That's getting less and less. So, but there are always times where maybe it's just a little bit buggy, or the lecturer has not yet posted the right material, or it erased all your answers before you were able to submit the question. So there's always going to be little technical problems. So it's not like they don't have any.
Right. But, your dog could always eat your homework.
Oh, that's very true.
You could have something at home and spill food on it, right? That would work too. So that, and in the same vein, you could have a rolling blackout in California, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything online. So then you got to go outside.
Well, yeah, it's true. I know you like the idea of the power and the internet going out, but if that happens, we're going to have bigger problems than not being able to watch our online classes. So.
Right. Yeah. If the power goes out here, that means that there's a drought and that the water isn't running through Bonneville Dam anymore.
Yeah, that might be a problem. So let's take an online class about living off the grid. Okay. Another weird little problem that came up with online classes in Minnesota, and I believe this is a couple years ago, so maybe this has changed since then, it seems like. Minnesota was saying you can't take online classes for free.
Wow.
So there was actually a legal issue there. I think Minnesota had something in their laws. I have a link to this website, and you can read a little bit about it, that says you have to pay the state of Minnesota some sort of money
if you're going to be in Minnesota.
if you're going to have classes in Minnesota.
Yeah, if you want to learn in Minnesota, there's a tax.
Yeah.
A Minnesota education
like
tax.
that. So again, this might be old and
Right.
it might not be accurate, but the point is there may be sort of even legal issues happening with what state are you in, or who are you paying, who are you learning from. So
it's the same sort of thing with the taxis in Portland,
Sure,
right?
okay.
So the taxi union is very strong and won't allow people to make their own taxi service out of their car.
right. And a lot of times it's coming out of good intentions.
Yep.
Where maybe the school wanted to make sure that the education was at a certain quality bar.
Mhm.
They didn't want to just offer anybody saying anything and assume that that's good education.
Right.
So it's not like they're
Which
idiots,
which is another pitfall of online education, is that you can actually have you can pay someone to take the class for you, and then how does the institution know that it's you?
It's a very good point too.
Yeah.
So there are ways around that sort of thing. Maybe it has to send your email address an email, and you have to check it. But somebody else could be checking your email. So it's a good point.
That's how it goes.
There are.
It's not to say that you can't have these workarounds in a regular school as
That's
well.
also true. You could have someone dress up like you and go take a test.
Right, which I hear happens more often than you think.
So and I just also wanted to put this out to you and all the tech townies is, what do you guys think? So try some of these courses, try a full one if you can, and really do the assignments, and come back and let us know. What did you like better than the regular classes? What did you think was not quite there? What could they do to improve, and let us know.
That's right. We're always open to suggestions here. And the cool thing is that being part of the Web Academy is you really have a say in that. We want to make the education as good as possible for you. And so we love to hear from our students and our parents. Nice. And really all contributors.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to mention my town wizard picks for this week.
Yep.
One of them is a debate by a podcast called Intelligence Squared. You can look that up as a podcast. It's a cool podcast about debates. They have debates between people. And one of them was talking specifically about this and whether these MOOCs, these massive open online courses,
right.
Are going to be the future of college. So is college as we know it totally changing into this sort of online thing or not? And there's a great debate. Listen to it. Let me know what you think.
That's right. Intelligence Squared is an awesome podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely get up on there and check some of those out, specifically online learning for college or not.
Yeah. And then quickly wanted to mention, so we talked mostly about those massive online classes. There's also other types of learning online. Obviously, there's Google, there's Wikipedia, YouTube. I mean, even YouTube in itself is amazing for learning. I mean, it may not be the most professional, but hey, you can learn something on YouTube.
You can learn more than you would have thought before you started learning on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple websites like Instructables, wikiHow, eHow. These are websites that are sort of how-to sites. You can learn how to do something. Some of them aren't that good. eHow's not that good. I mean, it just says the most basic stuff. It's pretty stupid. But like Instructables, that'll teach you how to make something, how to make the do-it-yourself sort of things.
Right.
All right. So yeah, check out these online classes. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, we want to hear from our townies. What's up with the online schools? Like, if you go onto those, check one of those out, pick out a subject that you want to learn about, and yeah, tell us how it is.
All right. Cool. All right, now it's time for the music segment of the week. Wow. Music. Okay, so this week's music site is actually it's a TV series.
Okay.
That's coming out on HBO.
Oh wow.
About the Foo Fighters.
Wow.
So it's too bad that it's HBO because maybe you don't have HBO, but maybe someone does, or maybe you have a login for somebody or whatever. But see if you can get onto HBO somehow and watch the Foo Fighters show called Sonic Highways. And it's really cool. I haven't yet seen it. I just saw the preview for it. But what it is it's a whole series of the Foo Fighters making their new album based on the history of American music.
Wow.
So they take, I think it's 8 or 10 different weeks, and each week part of American music history, study it, talk to people, see how it came to be and all the cool things about it. and that will inspire them to write one of their songs for their new album based on that.
Wow.
And then they'll choose another genre of American music history, study it, talk about it, then write another song. And then at the end, they're going to have their whole album full of all these songs. So
very cool.
It seems like a really cool idea, and I want to see the Foo Fighters. I like the Foo Fighters a lot, so hopefully you check it out.
That's right. Check the link below on the HBO.com for the Foo Fighters Sonic Highways.
All right.
Yeah.
And now it's time for
Mr. Ellsberg's app of the week. All right. And this week we have the app called Duolingo, which basically pops up like this. And we can't really see it very well, but it's called Duolingo.
That'd be real close.
Yeah, real close. Nope, not going to see it. Deal with it. All right. So Duolingo is a learning app. And so I have Spanish up. It's Duolingo. The links are below. And it's just a quick, easy, simple to use app on how to jump in and start learning a new language. And it's really
learning languages, right? Yeah. So I think this is really cool for a couple reasons. Number one, it's free. You can learn a new language for free. You ever see all those Rosetta Stone commercials? Hey, Rosetta Stone, pay a bunch of money. This is like Rosetta Stone, but for free. It's free. So that's awesome. Thing number two, this is so amazing and sneaky that you never even knew it.
Right.
The company that made this is not just offering some learning languages for free. Behind the scenes, you're actually, as you're learning that language, you're helping to translate the web from one language to another. So you just think, oh, I'm learning this. Oh, it asks me, how do you say this in that other language? Right. When you type that and you click submit, and if enough other people do it and it kind of figures it out, you're actually helping to translate a website that was in a certain language into a different language without even you knowing it. And that seems kind of weird, but look that up. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's right. So Duolingo, it's a great app. It's a quick, easy to use app for learning languages. And it also is super sneaky to get you to help it transcribe the web.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. And that is your Mr. Ellsberg's app of the week.
App of the week. All right. So yeah, now you're moving on to an app of the week. So we used to have a website, which were very important, vital websites that you must know.
Yeah, we're moving on to apps.
Now we're moving on to apps. All right. So, and now it's for the time for the security tip of the week.
Security!
Okay. So this week we're talking about HTTPS and SSL. Okay. Now that is a mouthful. It's a complicated concept or a complicated subject, but a simple idea. The idea is we want to be able to have what we do on the internet private.
Okay.
So HTTPS and SSL are really the technical ways that when we're browsing the web, it puts that little lock symbol up there on your browser and it says this is encrypted, which means that nobody should be able to see what's on this page except for me. So HTTPS and SSL are like the specific technical ways, and how does it happen, and public key encryption and certificate authorities, and there's a million crazy cool things going on there. But really what you need to know is when you see that HTTPS in that browser, in that URL, then supposedly that site is secure. Right. And that means nobody can intercept what's going between you and that site. Right. So you just want to look for that. More and more sites are doing it. It used to be just on banks and important documents and things. Now it's pretty much on everything. So it's that we want everything to be
out there to protect
secure.
You.
So, so read up on it. It's amazing how it works. It's really very clever and cool, but a little bit technical. So check it out. See what you think.
That's right. And finally, I want to shout out that on Thursday, DECA Academy, and you can get the information below. There's a Google Doc down there, and then also their website. They're looking for students who are interested in engineering and other technical skills, and you can go and be part of that group on Thursday. You can contact Julie Norander, Mrs. Norander, if you want more information. You can click below. All right, guys.
Great.
And that's it. We want you to go and check out the online learning, those MOOCs.
Yeah. And I want to hear from you. How did that class go? Was it interesting? Was it lame? Was it the best class you ever taken? Except for this one.
That's right. All right, guys. We'll see you next week on Tech Town. Take care.